Okay, welcome to the channel once again. This is Paul here. In this video, we're going to look at the difference between marginal costing and absorption costing. I'll be focusing on the computations. Mind you, marginal costing can also be known as using variable costing method, and absorption costing method is also known as full cost method. So in the introduction video that we look at, the cost card is a cost card that we are going to use in doing the differentiation. So on our cost card, we have direct material cost. So if this is my direct material cost, we have direct labor cost. Then my labor cost is here. Then we also have variable overheads. Then my variable overhead will also be here. When you come to the marginal and the absorption costing, the main difference in how fixed overhead is treated. So these three variable costs that we have at the left hand side here, I'll repeat the same thing at the right hand side because this will be the same for the absorption costing method and marginal costing method. Okay, so I have it at the left hand side and also at the right hand side. Now when you add all the variable costs here, it will give you total variable cost. Which I'll put here. When we are doing the marginal costing system, fixed overhead is treated as a period cost. So in the marginal costing method, we will stop here. When we are using marginal costing method to ascertain the cost of a product, then if you add all the direct elements, then that will be the end, including the variable overhead. That will be the end. So that will be the cost of the item. But when it comes to the absorption costing method, this costing method does not treat fixed cost as a period cost. So the fixed cost will be included in the cost of the product. So here fixed cost will be included. So we have fixed overhead. Then the fixed overhead will be included before you get the cost of the item. We are going to use figures to represent this so that it will be easy for you. So basically, this is the main difference between absorption costing and marginal costing when we are doing the computation. The main difference is the treatment of fixed production overhead. For example, if this is the cost of the product and we want to sell this product and get 20% profit on the cost, then here the selling price here will be the total variable cost times what? So we want to get 20%, so put 20% here. That will give us this times 20%, and the 20% you must add it back to the variable cost before you get your selling price. So if that's the case, then make it 120. So the 20% is here. The one here is representing the variable cost. So what we are going to get here will be our selling price. And if we want to do the same thing using the full costing method, then to calculate the selling price, we are going to use the 20%. So let me make this one to also 120 because the 100 here times the full cost of the product, which will also give us the selling price. So this is how we go about it. The main difference is the treatment of the fixed production overhead. Now, how do we calculate the fixed production overhead? The question will be specific. The question will tell you what to do. So this is the formula for getting the fixed overhead absorption rate. Should be equal to the budgeted overhead divided by the budgeted absorption basis. As I said earlier, the question will tell you what to do. For example, if we have a fixed overhead of 50,000, how should we apportion these overheads to the various units that we are producing? So the question can tell you that use production unit. So if production unit is 10,000, then you divide it by 10,000. The question can tell you that use labor hours, so you must get the total labor hours and use it to divide it. The question can also tell you to use machine hours. So whatever the question tells you, that is what you must use. Whatever the question tells you, that is what you must use. So that's what we are going to use to determine the fixed overhead, fixed production overhead. So let's take a question to demonstrate what I'm saying. Okay, I have a question here. The question says ABC Limited manufactures a single product alpha. The standard cost data per unit of product alpha is as follows. So direct material will use 4 kg at $5 per kg, and that will give us a total of $20. This $20 here, it is the cost per direct, that's the cost for direct material. This is the unit that we are using, and this is the cost per unit. So the cost per unit times the number of units that we are using, if you multiply it, you get the cost, the direct material cost. Sometimes the examiner can omit one of these two. The examiner can omit one, and you should be able to get it yourself, because if this time this will give us this, then if they omit one, just divide the 20 by the remaining one, you get what? The one that has been omitted. Sometimes the examiner will not give you this, so you must multiply these two to get this one. The examiner will not give you complete information. You should be able to determine the one that is missing. It's very important. Okay, so when it comes to the labor hours, if you work for 0.5 hours, probably that is 30 minutes, you will be paid what? Hey, why from the kg? So this should be $16 per hour, not kg. $16 per hour. Then the variable overhead is 2 hours at $4, and that will also give us what? $8. Now the fixed overhead, fixed production overhead of 250,000, it absorbed using production unit of 10,000 units. So we are given the production unit. So let's start with the marginal costing system. The marginal costing. So let me put my currency. Then direct material. Direct material, the total is what? $20. Direct labor is $8. Then variable overheads, that will also give us what? $8. So when we are using the marginal costing system, what will be our total cost here? This will give me 16, that is $36. So if it's the cost of producing one product of alpha, and we want to sell this product and make a profit of 20%, then what will be the selling price? The selling price will be what? The 36 plus 20% of the 36, which will give us $43.20. So using the marginal costing system, this will be the selling price. Let's go straight to the absorption costing system. So using the absorption costing system, we have our direct material, direct labor, and variable overhead. Our direct material is $20, direct labor is $8, and variable overhead is also $8. Then what will be our fixed production overhead? So our fixed production overhead should be 250,000 divided by 10,000, and that will give me 25. So if I add, what will be our full cost? The full cost will be $61. Then if we want to get our selling price using the 20% markup, that will give us 61 plus 20% times 61. So that will give me 61 plus 12.2, which will give me $83.2. So when we are using the marginal costing system, we don't consider the fixed production overhead, but when we are using the absorption costing system or the full costing system, we consider the fixed production overhead. The fixed production overhead, the question, as I said, will be specific. They can tell you to use labor hours. In that case, you must get the total units that we are going to produce and the total hours that we are going to use. For example, this question, if we want to produce 10,000 units, how many labor hours are we going to use? So we use what? 30 minutes in producing 1 unit. So if we are producing 10,000, that should be 0.5 times 10,000, and that will give us what? 5,000. That means we are going to use 5,000 hours to produce the total unit. So to get the fixed production overhead should be 250,000 divided by 5,000. This 3 will cancel this 3. Yeah, this one is just an example I'm setting, so this figure looks very big. So the question will always tell you what to do. Just know your calculation. They can use the labor hours, machine hours, or unit produced. So take note of that. I hope this is helpful. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. See you in the next video.